Hi guys, this is Zsolt. In today's video we are going to have a look at how the 39 kilowatt hour battery Hyundai Kona Electric behaved on the motorway with regards to charging, consumption and so on. I used the car between Debrecen and Budapest. It doesn't really matter where it was, obviously. The point is that majority of the road was on motorway. But just to give you some points, just some interesting or not that important facts. So it was Debrecen Budapest distance, which normally is around 2.5 hours with an internal combustion engine car, and this particular distance is around 230 kilometers. It depends where the navigation takes you, but more or less that's the baseline. So on the way to Budapest, we went on the motorway with a speed of 130 kilometers an hour, which is around 70 miles or so, and the car was showing a range of 316 kilometers. On the odometer it was 2,910 kilometers with 100% of battery charge. We left Debrecen at 13:33 or 1:33 in the afternoon, and the expected time of arrival was 3:57 or 15:57 in the afternoon. The expected distance that we're supposed to cover was showing 238 kilometers on the navigation. As I said, we did the normal speed, the 130 kilometers an hour. We didn't go slower than the allowed speed. At some places, of course, we went a little bit faster, like 135 kilometers an hour or so, but we didn't do any crazy speeding. And I could see that the electric consumption was keep growing and growing, and the remaining range was decreasing significantly. So we decided to stop almost at halfway at one of these small plug-in chargers at 2:53 in the afternoon. We had 108 kilometers of distance left to our destination, and the range was showing only 98 kilometers when the battery was on 35% at this charger. Now, obviously, I knew that it's not going to do anywhere nearby this 98 kilometers because we've done 128 kilometers with 65% of battery usage. By the way, don't be scared of these numbers. At the end, I'm going to give you a summary. So to get to the point at the charger, anyway, we would have stopped because we needed a bio break and also we didn't have lunch, so we wanted to eat something at the petrol station, and there was a long queue at the petrol station and so on, so we had to wait at the cashier. And altogether we charged the car for like 25-26 minutes at the DC charger, and we charged it to 80%. However, we needed a bit more time to finish our lunch, so it was an additional 9-10 minutes. And in the meantime, I was just crunching some numbers, and I've seen that our average was around 20 kilowatt hours on the motorway. We managed to leave the charger at 3:22 in the afternoon, and at that time it was showing a range of 216 kilometers, so 216 to the 128. I knew that it's going to cover, so I had no range anxiety at this point. We arrived to our hotel on the Buda side of Budapest. Yeah, so this trip was around 3 hours, altogether 3 hours and 3 minutes, including the charging and the lunch break and whatever. And at this point, the car was showing 71 kilometers of range left. Altogether, the average came to something around 19 kilowatt hour on the motorway and in the city traffic. And at this point, we've done 235 kilometers altogether instead of the predicted 238. And that was it. At our destination, We hooked up the car on an AC charger because we went to an event, and I hooked up the car on an AC charger which was free of charge, but it doesn't really matter at this point. And we managed to charge the car all the way up to like 87% because we attended an event, and we left the event a bit earlier than it finished. So we couldn't charge the car all the way to 100%, but it went to 87, and by the time we went to the hotel, back to the hotel, it was on around 85%. On the way back, we decided to do 110 kilometers an hour, just to see if we could make it without charging at all. However, as I said, the battery was on 85%, so most probably we would have needed to stop anyway for a charge. But obviously I forgot to take some photos at the very beginning. Just like 20 minutes into the journey I realized, so I had to ask my next of kin, also known as the missus, to take some photos. So basically we left the hotel at 8:35, and the GPS was showing 233 kilometers to do, and the odometer was on 3,160 kilometers. So as I said, as anyhow we had to stop to do a bit of top up because we didn't start on 100%, and anyway there was a need for a bit of bio brake. So we stopped at 9:51 at the same petrol station at Kál with the electric charger, which is again more or less halfway between Budapest and Debrecen. And the remaining distance was 129 kilometers from this charger. The average consumption was coming to around 16 kilowatt hour, and we've done 107 kilometers at this point from our point of origin, or the starting point, up to this charger. And the car was showing that it could do 120, which obviously, again, I know it's not 120 because it was keep decreasing significantly. So we had to do a bit of top up. And at this point, the battery was on 41%. So we had a little bit of break, we had some charging, and around 15-20 minutes later, so at around 10:10 in the morning, we decided to kick off. At this point the car was showing 158 kilometers of range available, and yeah, that was it after around 15 minutes or so charging. We arrived to Debrecen at 11:40, where the clock was showing around 3,400, I mean the odometer was showing 3,400 kilometers, and actually altogether we've done 239 kilometers instead of the predicted 233. The remaining range on the car was showing 24 kilometers only, so it was very well timed with the charging, and altogether it was around 3 hours and 5 minutes journey. This one was with the charging and the brake, but if I take the charging and the brake time off, then we could have done it around in 2 hours and 50 minutes. And altogether the average came to around 16 kilowatt hours, as I said. But just to sum it up, so on 130, the average electricity consumption was 20 kilowatt hour, and including charging, it was around 3 hours. This 230 something kilometers journey. If I take off the additional time that we spent at the petrol station with the charger, with eating and the brake and whatever, and the unnecessary charging, because as I said I didn't have to charge all the way to 80%, less would have been enough, then we could have done this journey in around 2 hours 45, 2 hours and 50. But we still would have to stop on 130, and this charging was costing around 2,400 forints or so. I'm going to leave it on the screen how much is it in euros, just to have an idea. So the conclusion is that on 130 kilometers an hour with the 39 kilowatt hour Hyundai Kona electric, you definitely have to stop, at least for a 15 minutes top up charging on a DC fast charger, just to make sure that you reach this distance between Debrecen and Budapest. But of course, if you are talking about different distances, then point being that you need to have frequent stops on a motorway just to top up. And on the 110, the summary was that the average consumption came to 16 kilowatt hour on 100 kilometers. The journey without the charging time, without any break, would be like 2 hours and 50 minutes. And it would do this distance between Debrecen and Budapest just. Maybe there would be a couple of kilometers left, couple of kilometers range left, but yeah, I would still recommend to stop at least for a 5 minutes top up or something, especially at the winter time. I'm pretty sure at the winter time you wouldn't be able to do it with the heating on. Oh, by the way, during this journey the AC was on, so we didn't save on anything. We drove it just like an internal combustion engine car. Yep, so again, winter time, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't do this distance with one charge. So it wouldn't do the 230 or so kilometers unless you do maybe 90 or 100 kilometers an hour. And yeah, so basically that's it about this journey. Altogether, the conclusion is that time-wise, it would be the same to do on 110 or 130, because on the 130, obviously you go faster, but you definitely have to stop for at least a 15 minutes of charge. But on this short distance, that's exactly what you gain compared to going with 110. So obviously everyone can decide if they want to do 110 or 130. On the 130, you definitely need to charge. It is definitely going to cost you some additional money to charge next to a motorway. And basically that's it. So I really hope that this video could give you a bit of insight how the 39 kilowatt hour Hyundai Kona is behaving on a motorway. And maybe if you are just about to buy one of these, just to see if it is going to fit your needs. So I really hope I could help in that regard. Anywho, that was it about this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and in case you did it, then press the notification bell so you're not going to miss any of my upcoming videos. I'd like to say a big thank you for your time, and I hope I'm going to catch you on the next one. Have a good one. Bye bye.